The Supreme Court has agreed to take up a controversial policy from the Trump administration on immigration. The justices will decide if the president can end birthright citizenship. That automatically gives citizenship to anyone born in the United States, even if their parents are in the country illegally or on a temporary basis. President Trump signed an executive order on birthright citizenship on the first day of his second term, but it has faced legal challenges. Let's bring in CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Jessica, what questions will the justices be weighing here?
So the justices are going to be looking at the 14th Amendment and really what has been our understanding since it was ratified after the Civil War, which is if you're born in this country, aren't you a citizen of this country, regardless of the status of your parents? So I think the justices are going to kick the tires, so to speak, on one particular phrase in the 14th Amendment that essentially says if you're born in this country and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, then you're a citizen of this country. So I think there'll be some discussion about that, what that subject to the jurisdiction actually means. But we have understood it again since the ratification of the 14th Amendment, and then again in an 1868 Supreme Court case, and again in statute since, to mean that it doesn't matter what the status of your parents are. If you're born in this country, that is the beginning and end of the question.
What are the implications of their eventual ruling?
So if they rule, as I frankly expect that they will, that the president cannot, by executive order, undermine our understanding of the 14th Amendment, then there are essentially no changes because it ratifies what we have already understood and known. If the court instead says that the president can, by executive order, change our understanding of the Constitution, then, Lindsay, I think in the short term, what that would mean is actually a lot of administrability problems, a lot of practical issues in terms of people proving that they are citizens, having people who are newborns, having their parents obviously prove that they are citizens. So I think there'd be a lot of questions about who does and doesn't fall inside and outside of the executive order and the scope of the order. And then, of course, we would have a group of people who used to be citizens who would then, depending on the Supreme Court's ruling, they would not be citizens after the ruling. And they would obviously be subject to different laws as a result.
Do we know when justices are going to hear arguments?
So I don't believe that they've set a date for arguments. We expect that it would be before their argument calendar ends this term, which is typically the end of April. And that means that in addition, Lindsay, to all the other big cases that we've been talking about this term, add now birthright citizenship as one of the big cases that we'll be waiting for at the end of June, beginning of July, when we get to talk about all those big decisions.
Don't plan a summer vacation. Jessica Levinson, thank you.